Hi everyone. No one should get killed over a drawing, ever! What is wrong with you? Here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Panda Bear record, Panda Bear Meets the Grim Reaper. Panda Bear is a singer-songwriter, a multi-instrumentalist, a producer, mostly known for the very large role that he plays in the contemporary psychedelic music group Animal Collective. And given the band's groundbreaking and imaginative back catalog, any solo album to come from the Animal Collective camp should be cause for excitement and anticipation. However, that has not been the case for me as of late with the several solo albums we have been handed recently. 2011's Tomboy from Panda Bear, as well as A.V. Tear's solo records like Down Below, as well as the Slasher Flicks record that came out last year. Rather than expanding the wondrous world of sound that Animal Collective presented to us throughout the 2000s, these recent solo releases, in my opinion, have only served to show us how limited this pool of ideas really is. And despite having relatively positive feelings toward the Mr. Noah EP that came out late last year, this following album for me is another round of lesser versions of what Panda Bear would normally hand into an Animal Collective project. I just cannot come to terms with how unbelievably dull some of the instrumentals on this record are. Like with the opening track, Sequential Circuits, a very uneventful introduction, very watery manipulated sound effects hanging in the background, matched with icy, frigid synthesizer swells, and atop this skeletal instrumental is Panda Bear's very typical vocal harmonies, ascending and descending very dispassionately. Clearly, Panda Bear was not looking to set expectations very high with too much emotion or excitement. There are some cuts on this record that in comparison are lively, but still don't end up being that interesting, like Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Maker. This track is mind-numbingly redundant. Even though Panda Bear continues to work with a sound set that, at least to my knowledge, no other significant artist does today, his vocal melodies on this track are the definition of forgettable. While the very simple beats and the phantom synthesizers that are so quiet and so light and so breezy that they're barely even audible, and then all these inconsequential effects come into play, all of these things just cycle and repeat until the song essentially becomes just sonic wallpaper. It just hangs in the background and really doesn't do anything to command any sort of attention in the forefront of my mind. And yet there's something just kind of gaudy and slightly eccentric about it, like it's wallpaper, but it's just like not in good taste wallpaper. It's like a really horrid flower print. I feel roughly the same on the following track, Boys Latin, except for the fact that Panda Bear continues to mix his vocals so low in his music that he sounds like a muffled background singer on his own song. The track Come to Your Senses hands us about the same amount of musical variance as a 3-minute track on this record, but for whatever reason lasts 7 minutes. In my opinion, the first bright spot on this LP, aside from Mr. Noah, which is a song that I still feel is relatively likable. I did dig it somewhat on that Mr. Noah EP, but the first bright spot really is Tropic of Cancer. The song is mostly harp and vocals. It's very skeletal, very stripped back, and rather than engaging in a lot of the repetitive editing and just useless beats, Panda Bear hands us kind of a simple ballad with a pretty Beach Boys, Brian Wilson inspired vocal melody. Panda Bear can most definitely sing and write a vocal melody, but he's not much for building or progressing or arranging. Case in point as well, the song Selfish Gene, another winning vocal melody on this LP, and another that has a very strong Beach Boys, Brian Wilson vibe to it. But the beat throbbing away very lightly and insubstantially in the background is just so thin that the track feels like it's in a constant state of introduction, like a burst of bass or rhythm or just other frequencies than this really bland gray mid-range are about to just rush in and fill the song out and actually make it feel like a kaleidoscopic display of color. That doesn't happen though. This is just another instance of an instrumental on this record that teases toward an ascension that never really comes. Same with the track Lonely Wanderer, whose title actually lives up to the way this song is composed, with a kind of sloppily chopped up piano sample that cycles again and again and again. Panda Bear delivers his typical vocals over that. And the song never really finds its direction or point of captivation. It's just nothingness and navel gazing. The album also features a pretty uneventful closer that doesn't hold any more significance musically than any other track here. And I have to say, overall, I think this is the most disappointing collection of songs Panda Bear has handed us thus far. All these recent Animal Collective records, in my opinion, have really just been supplemental, something for hardcore fans who just kind of want to peek behind the curtain and sort of hear what Animal Collective does in a really basic element in order to get a better grip on how the band's studio magic comes together. So regardless of why you like listening to Panda Bear, I don't really care for this LP. I think the instrumentals just don't really have much meat on them and get very boring, very fast. The vocal melodies aren't really that fantastic throughout the LP, though there are some bright spots here. The lyrics are pretty simple, though I do draw some abstract meanings out of a few of them. It's not like they're so dense that they actually make up for the very bare instrumentals and melodies. And just as a whole, the record, a lot like Tomboy, is mixed to the point where just everything is just drowning everything else out, and nothing really just sounds that, I guess, vivid or interesting. I'm feeling a strong 4.
No! No, Andy, no! Why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do that to Panda Bear? My favorite experimental music, man!
Transition. If you've given this record a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, Animal Collective, Panda Bear. Panda Bear meets the Grim Reaper. Forever.